You are being consumed right now, not by a virus, not by a stranger with a weapon, by someone you probably invited to dinner last week. Energy vampires don't come with warning labels. They come with sob stories, guilt trips, and just enough charm to make you feel like the bad guy for protecting yourself. Here's the brutal math nobody teaches you. Every time you let a toxic person commandeer your attention, your focus, your emotional bandwidth, you are making a withdrawal from a bank account you didn't know had a limit. And Marcus Aurelius, the man who ran the Roman Empire while surrounded by corrupt politicians, ungrateful generals, and a court full of opportunists, he cracked the code on this over 1,800 years ago, and almost nobody is using his playbook. What you're about to hear are 5 Stoic lessons that will fundamentally rewire how you respond to energy-draining people permanently. Stay till the end, because Lesson 5 is the one most self-improvement content actively gets wrong, and it might be the reason nothing else has worked for you. We talk constantly about toxic relationships. There are 1,000 videos, 100 books, an endless scroll of content telling you to cut off negative people. But here's what that advice always skips. The real drain isn't the other person's behavior, it's your reaction to it. That's where you're hemorrhaging energy. That's where Marcus Aurelius is sitting across from you, arms folded, waiting for you to figure it out. Stoicism isn't a philosophy of running away. It's a philosophy of building an interior life so solid, so structurally sound, that other people's chaos simply bounces off. Think of it like this. You're not trying to become ice cold. You're trying to become bedrock, immovable, undisturbable. Not because you don't care, but because you've decided what actually deserves your care. 5 lessons. Real philosophy, zero filler. Let's get into it. Lesson 1. The parasite isn't the problem. The door is. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But most people quote that, and then spend 3 hours venting to their friend about someone who wronged them, which is precisely the opposite of what he meant. Here's the reframe. Every draining person in your life got in through a door you opened. Maybe it was loneliness, maybe it was guilt, maybe it was the fear of seeming cold, but the door, that was yours. You built it, you unlocked it, you waved them in and offered coffee. The Stoic move isn't to blame the person who walked through. It's to ask with ruthless clarity, why did I keep this door unlocked? When you locate the emotional vulnerability that allowed the dynamic to form, the need for approval, the terror of conflict, the habit of over-explaining yourself, that's where the real work begins. Draining people aren't the diagnosis, they're the symptom. Which brings us to the Stoic concept that's been hiding in plain sight since the 2nd century, and it destroys the idea that you need anyone's permission to reclaim your peace. Lesson 2. The dichotomy of concern. Stop funding other people's drama. Epictetus, born a slave, became one of history's greatest philosophers, taught one foundational idea that, if you actually applied it, would end 80% of your daily stress immediately. He called it the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to us, our thoughts, our values, our responses. Everything else, emphatically not our business to bleed over. Here's where this gets sharp. Draining people operate on a specific economy. They trade in your concern. Every time you emotionally invest in a problem they created, refuse to solve, and keep replaying, you are paying rent to live in their drama. You are a tenant in a building you don't own, and the landlord never fixes anything. Practicing the dichotomy of concern means asking one question before you respond to anyone trying to dump their chaos on you. Is my reaction to this actually going to change the outcome? If no, then your emotional energy is a donation to a cause that doesn't serve anyone. You can care about someone as a human being while refusing to financially back their circus. But what about the people you can't cut off? Family, co-workers, the ones you're contractually obligated to exist near. This next lesson is specifically for them. Lesson 3. The aquifer principle. Depth. They can't reach. There's a layer of water deep beneath the Earth's surface called an aquifer. It sits hundreds of feet below the topsoil, immune to drought, immune to pollution on the surface, uncontaminated by what happens up above. This is the original Stoic self, the one Marcus spent 12 years cultivating in the Meditations, not for publication, but as a daily discipline to keep his inner aquifer clean. Toxic people operate on the surface. They need you to operate there too. The moment you engage with surface-level chaos, the passive aggression, the manipulative framing, the performative crisis, you're exactly where they want you. Shallow water, easy to muddy. The Stoic practice here is what Aurelius called withdrawal to oneself, not physical retreat, but mental descent. Before you respond, you go deep. You reconnect with your actual values, your actual perspective, your actual knowledge of this person's patterns. You respond from the aquifer, not the puddle. And here's the beautiful trap. People who drain you can only access the version of you that's reactive. Build depth, and they'll exhaust themselves trying to reach you. Resentful is protection, but there's one Stoic move that turns protection into something even more powerful, and it involves doing something that feels deeply counterintuitive at first. Lesson 4, Amor Fati and the difficult person. Use the friction. Marcus Aurelius inherited an empire facing plague, war on 3 fronts, and a co-emperor who turned out to be spectacularly unreliable. He didn't just endure this, he reframed it. In his journals, he repeatedly writes about difficult people not as obstacles, but as training equipment. The Stoic concept of amor fati, love of fate, sounds like a self-help bumper sticker until you understand its actual mechanics. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about recognizing that resistance to what is real is the actual source of your suffering. The draining person in your life isn't just a problem. They are a live fire exercise in patience, in boundary holding, in clear communication, in keeping your identity intact under pressure. Fighters don't get strong by punching pillows. You don't develop emotional resilience in frictionless environments. Every time someone tries to destabilize you and you stay grounded, you have just done a rep. The difficult coworker is a sparring partner you didn't choose but can absolutely use. The moment you stop asking, why is this happening to me, and start asking, what is this building in me, the drain reverses direction. Jinjiao. But none of this, not the depth, not the discipline, not the reframing, works if you make the mistake that most people make when they first encounter Stoicism. This last lesson is the one that separates people who transform from people who just sound smart at dinner parties. Lesson 5, the virtue trap. Boundaries are not cold, they are correct. Here's the thing most Stoic content won't tell you, because it's uncomfortable and it doesn't get as many shares. Some of the most drained, depleted, chronically exhausted people walking around are also the most virtuous. They confuse endurance with virtue. They mistake tolerance for strength. They've been told, somewhere along the line, that being a good person means being infinitely available to bad behavior. Marcus Aurelius was clear. Justice is one of the 4 cardinal virtues of Stoicism. And justice doesn't just mean fairness to others, it means accurate assessment of what is right. Allowing someone to continue treating you badly is not kind, it is not humble, it is not spiritually advanced. It is, in the Stoic framework, a failure of accurate judgment. You are mislabeling capitulation as compassion. Setting a boundary, a real one, stated plainly, held without apology, is a Stoic act. It is the act of a person who understands their own value clearly enough to protect it. It is the act of a person who refuses to participate in their own diminishment. You are not being cold, you are being correct. And in the words of Epictetus, no person is free who is not master of themselves. You cannot master yourself if you have outsourced the terms of your peace to someone else's mood. One Fansifterzalov is being here. The only question was whether you were ready to use it. Here's the full picture. You cannot control who walks into your life. You cannot mandate that difficult, draining, emotionally costly people simply cease to exist. But you are not at their mercy either. You were never at their mercy. That was always a choice, usually a quiet, unconscious one, made out of guilt or fear or a misunderstanding of what strength actually looks like. Marcus Aurelius governed an empire with one hand while managing his own inner weather with the other. He didn't do it by eliminating conflict, he did it by refusing to be defined by it. 5 lessons. One principle underneath all of them: your inner life is yours, not theirs. Protect it like it matters, because it is the only territory you will ever truly own. If this hit different, drop a comment with the one person or situation you're finally ready to stop losing energy to. No names required, just the pattern. Let's talk about it down there. Subscribe if you want more philosophy that doesn't coddle you, and share this with whoever needs the wake-up call. See you in the next one.